All right, guys, here we are. Welcome to Hardworking Parents Podcast. I think I'm on my phone. Strange, but true. Let's check it out. So, welcome to today's podcast, talking about the safety net for your emergency fund. So, let's get into it. Hey there, hardworking parents. Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk for Real Families. I'm your host, Curtis, and today we're diving into something that keeps way too many parents up at night. That sinking feeling when you've had to dip into your emergency fund again, or worse, when you realize you don't have one. Have you ever felt like you're walking on thin ice financially, or if you've used up your savings for family needs and now feel completely vulnerable? This, e- this episode is for you. We're going to talk about emergency funds in a way that makes sense, even if your 11-year-old is listening in the car with you. So let me start with a question that might make you a little uncomfortable. If I asked you right now to imagine walking across a tightrope above the ground, would you feel safer with a safety net below you or without? Let me know in the comments. I'm guessing you said with a safety net, right? Well, that's exactly what emergency fund is for your family finances. It's your safety net that catches you when unexpected things happen. Now, I know that some of you are thinking, easy for you to say, I can barely keep up with my regular bills, let alone saving extra money. But trust me, I get it. By sticking with me here, because I'm going to show you that building an emergency fund isn't just about saving tons of extra money, it's about being strategic with your money you already have. Let me tell you about two families, and I bet you'll see yourself in one of these stories. First, meet Sarah and Mike Johnson. They have two kids, Emma, who's 8, and Jake, who's 11. Sarah works as a nurse. Mike teaches middle school. Sound familiar? They're not wealthy, but they made one smart decision. They decided to put away $200 every month into their emergency fund. Not 500, not 1,000, just 200 bucks. Easy, right? For 2 years, they stuck with this plan. Some months were tight, some months they could have used that money for other things, but they kept at it. After 2 years, they have saved up $4,800. Perfect. Good stuff. Then one Tuesday morning, because emergencies never happen on convenient days, their car wouldn't start. The mechanic delivered the bad news. The engine needed major repairs, costing $3,200. Ouch. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. Without their emergency fund, the Johnsons would have put it on their credit card, paying high interest for months, maybe even years. Instead, they used this emergency savings to fix the car and still had $1,600 left for a future emergency. Sarah told her sister later, it's like having a financial superhero swoop in and save us. We don't have stress about how to pay for it or go into debt, which is great. Now, let me tell you about Carlos and Marina Martinez. They learned the hard way what happens when you don't have an emergency. When their daughter Sophia broke her arm during soccer practice, they faced an unexpected medical bill of $2,500 after insurance. Well, this is a little bit different. It's a state story. Without emergency savings, they had to use credit cards and borrow money from Carlos's parents. Maria told me, I felt like we're walking on thin ice. Every month, we were paying interest on those credit cards instead of saving for our family's future. It took them 8 months to pay for everything back. And then, and by then, they had to pay an extra $400 in interest. That's $400 they could have used for family, but instead it went to credit card company. Kind of sucks, right? So, what's the difference between the two families? It's not just that the Johnsons made more money, it's that they understood something crucial about financial family finances. Emergencies aren't a matter if, it's a matter of when. When families use up their emergency funds, they often describe feeling like they're walking on thin ice or living on the edge. And there's good reason for this feeling. Let me explain, in which I call the domino effect. Imagine you're building a tower of dominoes. When one falls, it knocks the next one down and the next one, and so on. That's exactly what happens when you don't have emergency savings. One unexpected expense leads to another problem, which leads to another. For example, if your car breaks down and you can't afford to fix it, you might miss work. Missing work means less money. Less money might mean you can't pay bills on time. Late payments can hurt your credit score, making it harder and more expensive to borrow money in the future. See how one domino knocked down all the others. See that? Now, I know some of you are thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually build an emergency fund when I'm already stretched thin? Here's the secret. Finance members don't always tell you what you need to save. $10,000 overnight. You may start really small, really small. Let me give you a sample. If you save $5 per week, that's less than the cost of a fancy coffee, right? You'd have $260 at the end of the year. Is that enough to handle every emergency? No, but it's enough to handle a lot of small emergencies without going into debt, right? Here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to find those loose change money, those small amounts of money where you can redirect your emergency fund without feeling pinched. Try the coffee shop challenge. Probably sure you heard this before. If you buy coffee twice a week for $4, that's $416 per year. Make coffee at home and save that money. Or do that subscription audit. Check on monthly subscriptions. Are you paying for streaming services you rarely use? That $10 subscription could equal $120 a year. Here's my personal favorite, the grocery game. You use coupons and store sales to save $20 per grocery trip. If you shop weekly, that's over $1,000 per year. That's a solid start to an emergency, right? Just make sure you put the money in the right spot. Now let's talk about those who have kids listening. This is actually a great teaching moment for them. Hey kids, if you're listening, here's a great how to think of an emergency fund. Remember when your bike chain broke on your bike before a big race? You probably was so glad that mom or dad had the tools in the garage to fix it quickly. Our emergency fund is like having money tools ready for when the family faces unexpected problems. And parents, getting your kids involved will actually help them understand money management and reduce their anxiety about family finances. You can give younger kids three piggy banks labeled spend, save, and emergency. When they get allowance or gift money, help them divide it among the three banks. For older kids, create a visual chart showing your family's emergency fund progress. Let them help color in the progress or add stickers when you reach saving milestones. This helps them see that the family is working together to stay safe. So, how much should you actually save? Financial experts typically recommend saving enough to cover 3 to 6 months of your family essential expenses. But don't let this big number scare you. Remember, you're building this over time. Here's how to figure out your target. Calculate your monthly expenses, rent, mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, and minimum debt payments. Let's say, for example, that's $3,000. Multiply that by 3, your starter goal is $9,000. Multiply by 6, you're at 18,000. It's pretty simple. But here's the thing, you don't have to reach 18,000 before your emergency fund becomes useful. Even $500 can handle a small emergency. Even 1,000 can prevent you from going into debt for many unexpected expenses, right? Any questions? Let me know in the comments, guys. Now, what if you use that emergency fund? Maybe you've listened to this before. I've had some savings exposed before. The key is to rebuild as soon as possible. Trying the 50-30-20 rebuild method. 50% of any extra money goes to rebuilding your emergency fund. 30% goes to regular expenses. 20 goes to other saving goals. Or use the tax fund refund strategy. If you get a tax refund, use Jumpstart Emergency Fund rebuilding. This gives you a big boost without affecting your monthly budget. It's a good idea for those who just received the tax. Maybe you've already spent it. If not, try to put emergency fund. Let me share something that might surprise you. Building an emergency fund isn't really about the money. It's about creating peace of mind for your entire family. When you know you can handle unexpected expenses without going into debt or creating financial stress, you'll sleep better at night. Your kids will feel more secure. Your marriage experience less money-related tension. Excellent. Dr. Jennifer Lee, a family therapist I spoke with, told me when parents are consistently worried about money, children pick up on that anxiety. They might start worrying about money too, or they might act out because they sense something is wrong, but they don't understand what. Your emergency fund is like a warm blanket on a cold night, a flashlight during a power outage, or a spare tire may get that flat. You hope you never need it, but you are grateful that you were there to do it. So you use it. Before we wrap up, let me give you one piece of advice. Automate your savings. Set up automatic transfers from your bank account to your emergency fund, especially on paydays. It works the best and easiest. This way, you're saving money before you have a chance to spend it. Good idea? I think so. And it's like having a robot that actually puts money into your piggy bank. And also, some banks will let you open more than one account. They can actually transfer stuff over. So you can maintain the 50-30-20 rule. Most banks let you automatically transfer for any amount and frequency. You could transfer $50 every payday or $25 every week. The key is consistency, not the amount, right? So build a habit, be consistent. And keep your emergency fund in separate savings from your regular checking account. This prevents you from accidentally spending on non-emergency. But make sure it's still easy, accessible when you need it. Transfer it over or a separate card or something, right? Remember, every family's journey is different. So some months you might save more, some months less. The important thing is that you keep on trying and never give up. Even if you have to only save $20 per month, that's $240 a year. Pretty good. Even to handle small emergencies. Building an emergency fund is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself, celebrate small victories, and keep your eye on the prize. And more secure, less financial stress for you and your family. All right, that's the end of today's episode. If you think some of the practical steps you can use, please share it with other people. Let them know about the podcast, Hardworking Parents. If you found this helpful, so obviously share it. And if we're in all this together, the more families have financial aid, the stronger our communities become. Before I go, I want to mention something special. A lot of families I talk to have asked me about ways to find extra money in their emergency fund faster. If you're interested in learning how to start a side hustle, or even with a busy family, I've got a blueprint waiting for you at hardworkingdadclub.com. It's specially designed for parents who want to create additional income for sacrifice events. So that's www.hardworkingdadclub.com. It's help you to build extra money using a side hustle. Until next time, keep working hard, keep taking care of your family, and remember, you've got this. Thanks, guys.